Welcome to Reading on Headlines, where I read the tarot on news headlines. This is the place where tarot meets progressive politics, and I offer insights on the mess that is the world of politics and media. On today's episode, we're covering a little bit more of the war that is going on in Palestine, specifically about the West Bank. We're going to cover today. Then also I want to do a little bit of an update on the election in Poland that I covered last week. And then we're also going to look at Donald Trump's fine. He's been fined for gag order violation. So that is what we're going to take a look at. So first, I am going to share the first headline here. This is Palestinians under attack as Israeli settler violence surges in West Bank. There's so much that we could talk about when it comes to the war, and I want to do it justice, but I also feel very sad about everything that is going on. And because there is so much to talk about, I feel like I can't do it all justice, especially because I'm covering it with tarot, and I actually want to add something to the conversation, add something useful instead of just covering it for the sake of covering it, because there are a lot of people who are doing that and are doing a really good job at informing. So this is the article, and it's about how in West Bank, Israeli settlers, that had already been going on, by the way, before the attack on October 7th, Israeli settlers are killing Palestinians. I did read pretty much the entire article, and I definitely recommend you take a look at it as well, because it really shows that you can see here Israeli settlers are taking advantage by entering villages and expelling and even killing Palestinian civilians. So Palestinian civilians in West Bank are being forced out of their houses and just sort of exiled, I guess. And they have killed multiple people. I have heard numbers about how many Palestinians have been killed in West Bank, but I can't confirm that, so I'm not saying it. But this is just horrible here. This is a Palestinian saying, "We will stay here as long as there are thyme and olives," on a wall where a Palestinian was killed. And it's just really unsettling. Here you can see, if you're listening to the audio podcast, I do have a video podcast up on Spotify and YouTube, but you can also listen, because I'm telling you what is being shown here. A picture of masked Israeli settlers who are attacking Palestinian olive farmers, plural, in West Bank. And this was in 2020. So yeah, this has been going on for a very long time. And after the attack on October 7th, there have been even more outraged Israeli settlers that are doing this. I'm not sure if the violence necessarily is getting worse and worse, but it already had been bad before that. So what I wanted to read on today for this topic specifically is it's hard, right? Because there's a lot that we factually already know that I literally don't need to read the tarot for. But I want, and I'm also going to do a message of support to Palestinians. But for now, I think what I want to do is, what will stop this violence from happening? I had another question as well. What do we need to know about these Israeli settlers in West Bank? But we already know. We already have the facts. I can pull the cards and confirm it, but I don't think that adds anything. But let's take a look at what will stop this violence from happening. We have the 9 of Pentacles, and this to me is about material. I guess in this case we can also see it as the land itself, because that is material, that is earth, and Pentacles is connected to earth. And the Nine of Pentacles is about material satisfaction. So it all comes down again to peace. And it sounds so simple, and I know that it's not, but that literally is the only way out here. To stop this violence is if the Israeli government condemns it from happening, from their Israeli government condemning the Israeli settlers from doing this to the Palestinians in West Bank, and to sort of find a way to be content, I guess, with the way that the land is being divided. And that is, again, much easier said than done, which is why it's so frustrating, right? Because here we have the King of Swords. This is what is going on. We have these leaders playing this strategic game, but it's not a game, because there are thousands of lives and millions of lives that are in the game, quote unquote, that are being played with right now. And it's just really sad to see. And it definitely shows that what will stop this violence from happening, it's all from higher up. It's all from higher up, because these Israeli settlers are feeling so emboldened to do whatever the fuck they're doing because of what their government is saying and doing as well. And I want to be very clear that I am separating Israeli governments, Israeli settlers. I'm separating that from Jewish people, because they're not the same. And I want to be very, very clear on that. Anything else that we need to know about these settlers? We have, again, Emperor. It's all from the upline, I guess. It's all from the leaders that are caring so much about power. But also the Emperor, I do think, is about power, but I'm feeling it in the shadow aspect here, where these Israeli settlers, in this case right now, they're angry about what happened on October 7th, but they already felt emboldened to exile Palestinians living in West Bank. But they feel that they have the power to do so because there's nobody that's stopping them. And that is so disheartening for the Palestinians, but that is what is going on. They feel that they have the power. They're feeling so emboldened to do so because nobody is stopping them. Now I want to focus on the Palestinians, and I want to get a message of support for them. Not necessarily that I think they're listening, but still, I think it's important to think about how we can support them as well. Here we have the card of Temperance, which I really love this specific card. I'm using the Anna K tarot deck, and this definitely feels like a very calm card. This is a card about balance, and we can see here that they are on the steps here that are leading up. So I'm almost feeling that right now they're out of the water. And with the water, I think, is that right now everybody is looking at Israel and the Gaza and everything. And the whole world pretty much is looking at what is going on right now. And that wasn't necessarily the case for years. Like, everybody is looking at them now, and I feel like that is the first step. People are getting mad. People are protesting. We talked about this last week. People are protesting. People are on the streets advocating for, demanding peace. Also in Western countries, people are demanding that their government condemns what the Israeli government is doing and demands that freedom for the people in Gaza, freedom for the Palestinians. And I think this metaphor of being on the first step here, like we see in this card, I hope that it's a metaphor of being able to go up the stairs here towards bliss, I guess, where now that everybody is seeing what is going on, everybody is everybody's watching what is going on and is learning about what has been going on for decades. People are getting angry. People are, again, demanding peace. And I think this really goes to show that because it's being seen right now, this feels like the first step towards peace. There's still a long ass way to go, but at least we're out of the water here and onto the steps, onto dry land, able to go up the stairs and hopefully go to go towards move towards peace. I really fucking hope so. Okay, these readings are always very, very draining. So I'm not going to do a lot of topics and readings today. I'm getting a lot of goosebumps about this. So before we move on to the next topic, I want to do a little bit of a plug because we have an amazing community on Discord. If you're looking for a community of like-minded tarot enthusiasts, I invite you to join our free Discord server. We chat about tarot, witchcraft, politics, our hobbies, media, and more. And if you want to join, which again is free, you can click the link in the show notes. Now I want to take a look with you guys at Poland, because last week we talked about the election that Poland was having over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And I joked about the PIS, which stood for like law and justice or something like that, but I called it the PIS party, PIS, PIS. And people had been waiting for hours in line to vote. Like this guy, it was 1:33 a.m. on Monday when he dropped his voting slip into the ballot box. It's absolutely wild. But the people around this specific voting ballot box, the people living there were really nice, gave them blankets, hot tea, cookies. You know, it really shows that, I know, it really shows empathy, it shows kindness, and that it's important that young people vote as well. Because I think here it was a quote, "We're building our future," and I think a lot of young people understood that. But there was also something really interesting about the amount of people that voted, especially the amount of young people that voted. And I think that's really encouraging to hear, because oftentimes you hear that the youth isn't really interested in politics. And I'm not saying that that is deliberately done or done on purpose, but I don't know, when I was younger, I did find it interesting, but I didn't really know much about it. So I was on one hand apprehensive to vote when I was 18, and that was the first time that I could vote. But I also knew that it was super important. But it can be quite scary, especially my first time voting. I just voted near what I knew my parents voted until I learned more about it. And I am excited that I do see a lot of youth here in the Netherlands that are interested in politics. Anyway, polls show that 68.8% of voters aged under 29 turned out on Sunday. So that's almost 70%, which is a major surge from 46.4 at the last parliamentary election in 2019. And more young people cast their ballots this time than the over 60s, which is also highly unusual. And what at least this person in Poland said, what he thought was the main reason was that the civic coalition, which we talked about last week as well, just had a better message, I guess, that resonated with the youth. Because let's see, the major parties, both of them, didn't really pay attention to the youth vote during what they call an extremely negative election campaign. But the government claimed that, like the PIS party claimed, that Civic Coalition would bring chaos, including unlimited migration, and called its leader a stooge of Europe. But then the leader of Civic coalition went on the attack too, painting PIS and its leader as a threat to democracy itself, which is a message that resonates with younger voters much better. So I'm not going to do necessarily a reading on this, but I just wanted to give an update because I think it's important when we look at these elections. And I did a reading on it. I literally don't remember what I said. I get reading amnesia where I do a reading and oftentimes I don't even remember what I said, what I read on. So now we're going to go on to the last topic, which is always fun. It's always fun. Donald Trump. He was fined for a blatant gag order violation. A New York judge has fined Donald Trump because, okay, what he did. He has his whole stupid Truth Social, which was supposed to be an alternative to Twitter, but now X is basically the same thing as Truth Social, pretty sure. Oh my God, what did he do? I saw it in a post. Mr. Trump shared a picture of the clerk, the judge's clerk, alongside Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, claiming she was his girlfriend. And that was a blatant gag order violation. Apparently, he has a gag order, issued a gag order on former President Donald Trump on October 3rd. And look, what he had to pay was $5,000. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Let's be real here. He carries that in his pocket as change. Like, ridiculous. Anyway, what I want to know is, first, I want to take a look at what the fuck possessed Trump to post something like that. Like, what possesses Trump to post something like that? And this is not the first time that he's posted something stupid, something that is a lie, that is meant to hurt people, that is meant to put people in a bad light. Like, what possesses him to do something like that? He just eight of rods. I feel like he just feels like he can do it. Like, ever since he was in office, he has been on this high horse. He's been on this, I don't know, I guess high horse, and he just the image that I get with the eight of rods is the ball keeps rolling, like it's about momentum. And I think he still feels like he's such a hot shot that he can just do whatever, because for his entire life, pretty much, he's just been able to do whatever. And not many consequences. And he's not really facing the fact that that is changing. Death is a very big metaphor for change, for transformation. And I don't think he's truly seeing that. He is here. We have the emperor. He still sees himself as the emperor. He still sees himself as like the leader of, I don't know, the country, or just like a huge group of people, which I guess is technically true. But he just sees himself as this huge leader, as this hugely important person that cannot be touched. But he is not seeing yet that is sort of changing, or that doesn't matter when he's at a trial, or when now that there are finally legal repercussions for what he's all doing. But he's just not really seeing that. Also, because I'm pretty sure he lives in like an echo chamber. We see the emperor sitting here in his chamber as well. And I just get this feeling that he is surrounded by all of these people who just regurgitate whatever the fuck Donald Trump is saying. They're also, I feel like, feeding him things to say, feeding him things to think. And he's just in this echo chamber. And he just has his, like, it's not a blindfold, but it's like the shutter things that he has on. And I do think that he is just oblivious. I really think he's not as smart as his following thinks he is, but that's probably also because his following is not that smart either. I also want to know how, because like I said, he has previous posts on Truth Social that weren't great. And I want to know how his previous posts will impact his case about January 6th. We have the Empress interesting. So this could be about a woman coming forward, and we know that he has charges about sexual assault, probably even more. I literally I don't know all of the charges that Donald Trump is facing, but I know some of them have to do with that. There might be some misogynist messages on there. There might be some messages on there that are specifically about some people, about some women in his life that are going to come forward in his case. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be about the case about of January 6th, because I know that he posted some things. I don't know by head what it was, but he posted some things that emboldened, encouraged sort of people to do the whole storming of the Capitol thing. And I don't know if there's a woman gonna come forward with more evidence, or there's gonna be a woman, maybe a mothering figure, because that is something that we tend to see with the Empress, a mothering figure that is gonna come forward for about his January 6th case. We have the Knight of Rods, which is about adventure. Yeah, he lets loose. He doesn't think about it. He just goes, and he's sort of like a loose cannon almost. Like, there's a lot of doing and not a lot of thinking when it comes to Donald Trump. There's a lot of, I do think he's passionate. I do think he cares, but I just don't think he has the smarts about him to really understand what he's doing, or to really understand the impact that it has on the entire fucking country. I really think that he doesn't understand. And I do feel that there are previous posts of him on Truth Social that are gonna come back to bite him in the ass. Not just about the case of January 6th, but also his other cases that he has going on. I know he has cases of fraud going on. There's this whole thing, of course, where he had all of these classified documents in fucking Mar-a-Lago. And I think a lot of his posts are gonna come back to bite him in the ass. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Don't forget to join our Discord community by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to Reading on Headlines, and let me know your thoughts on today's episode. You can do that on Instagram. You can DM me at @terrorwithruby, or reply to my post on it, or in Spotify under the Q&A section. But for now, stay sane, stay safe, and do some self-care today. Bye.